YouTube? This is Tyre, Metalhead Weatherman. Hopefully you guys have had a good start to the week. Today we're going to be covering a little bit of breaking news in the tropics, and we're also going to be taking a little look at the severe weather threat that's coming towards the end of this week. Don't expect this to be a super long video, but we'll just try to cover our ends here and there and just go from there. Be more in depth with the severe weather threat in tomorrow's video, since we'll start to maybe get in range of some short range models. But anyway, let's go ahead and start with the elephant in the room here, which is now Tropical Storm Lisa. This formed a little bit earlier today while I was at work, but we have our next named storm in the Atlantic Basin. We have her sitting at 45 miles per hour with a central pressure of 1,002 millibars, and it's moving to the west here at 14 miles an hour, moving at a pretty good clip here. So we'll go ahead and take a look at her on satellite. Not a very big storm right now, not super impressive, but it does look like it's bringing tropical storm conditions, however, to parts of Jamaica here. Looks like we've lost the loop here for the moment, so I don't think I'm going to be able to pull that off for you guys. May cover it again in the morning. We'll see how things progress here. Or I might have an entirely different video for you, but we'll see how things go with that. So that being said, here is the current track for potential Hurricane Lisa, because this is actually slated to strengthen all the way up to a low-end Category 1 hurricane. But I've been saying it for the last few days. It definitely looks like Belize is in the line of fire this time. And then after Belize, we're going to be looking at areas like Guatemala and other regions around here that I'm not familiar with. But definitely going to be keeping an eye on these two countries just to see what happens next. Honduras and Nicaragua, I'm not really as concerned about you guys. You might get some heavy rain for a little bit, but I don't expect any major impacts. Maybe some storm surge too towards the coast of Honduras will be of concern here. Any region that's in the Gulf of Honduras, I would say. Yeah, it looks like just based off this satellite model here, this satellite imagery, we're getting some strengthening here. Let's go ahead and look at the spaghetti models, just kind of see what we're dealing with here. Also, we're going to take a quick look at the cone of uncertainty here, and we of course have tropical storm warnings going on in Jamaica, Honduras, and then towards Belize. Now we have hurricane watches in effect, as well as tropical storm watches over towards this little bed of islands right here in the Gulf of Honduras. This is expected to be a relatively fast storm, I'd say. I don't see this it doesn't really look like it's going to slow down too quickly. I don't expect it to go below 8 miles an hour, I would say, but we'll just see how things unfold here. I am very concerned about an inland flood threat, especially once we get past Guatemala and into parts of Mexico. But we'll see how things unfold with that. Go ahead and go to the spaghetti models now. And this will be my first time actually looking at these. So we know where she's going, but now we're looking at the intensity here. We have a few of these that try to push a little further into Category 1 here, starting to push towards that 65 plus knot region, even a couple that are getting it close to 80, but for the most part we're staying right at the bare minimum of a Category 1 hurricane. And after about 84 hours, a lot of the models start to drop off here. After its interaction with land, it's gonna quickly fall apart. It may make it out all the way into the Pacific and may start as a new storm, but I think the conditions around this region have started to get really unfavorable for that this year. So based off these spaghetti models here, like I said before, we're mainly looking at Belize being at risk here. So this is my little warning to you guys. I can't really cover too much of this, obviously, because I don't have access to a lot of forecasting and other various models and pieces that I would need in order to cover this storm as good as I would cover something like Ian or Fiona, so to speak. So that's pretty much all I got there. Let's move over to the severe weather threat that we have for the end of the week here. So we've gotten in range on the short range Euro here, because on 6Z and 18Z here we have a short model run. Instead of having a 240-hour run like we do on the OZ and 12Z, we have a 90-hour run. But we are close enough to start to look into Thursday, and we can see some of Friday, but not much. So we're starting out about 60 hours out. This is getting into the early hours of Thursday here. Starting out with some heavy snow towards the Rockies and the higher elevations here, or moderate to heavy snow. And we'll start moving this along. And it's not till late in the evening here where we really start to pick up on the severe weather threat here. It really starts out on the northeast side of this upper level low right here. And when we take soundings of it, it's not a very impressive environment here. I think the further south you go, the conditions become more favorable. But we do have some lapse rates here, some impressive lapse rates here. But the instability just doesn't really seem to be there. It's when we start to go further into things where we start getting more interesting returns and more interesting soundings, hordeographs, etc. Like when we look here, look at that. It's a linear looking storm based off this hordeograph here, but there is some curvature, and as a result here, this is looking like a quasi-linear convective system. Has some rotation potential there, so the probable hazard type is, guess what? Tornado. And there's decent tornado potential. It looks like there's a 3 on the significant tornado parameter as of right now. And the Cape looks like it's pretty impressive, so there's definitely instability there, especially as we get into the mid to higher levels of the atmosphere. Something that you're definitely going to want to look for when you're looking for severe weather. And then this threat will start to extend further and further to the south here once we get into the late night hours. So this could also very well be a nocturnal event, which is very concerning. You never want to see something like this late at night because you can't see it coming. When people are sleeping, you don't get warnings as easily. So I would advise people that are within this region, even though you guys are seasoned veterans, if you don't have a NOAA weather radio or some way to get the warnings at night, definitely do so ahead of time so you aren't scrambling should a warning be issued for you all. So that being said, you can even just look at this this model here, and you can tell that there's a lot going on here. There's a few kidney beans in here, which is indicative of supercell development, but you can also see the linear structure to this. So this could be a very messy, very difficult event if things come to fruition as they are right now. Of course, we're still multiple days out, so a lot can happen here. And this is where we start getting to Friday morning. These storms are still going strong here. And then there's going to be some cold air wrapping around the backside of this, which also increases my concern for the threat tomorrow. Because if this cold air and warm air mix really well, we could have an even bigger day on Friday. But that's all I got for you guys on this video. If you enjoyed what I did here, definitely drop me a like. Let me know what you think in the comments of this severe weather threat. Let me know what you think in the comments of potential Hurricane Lisa. And yeah, that's really all I got for you guys. Of course, if you want to, feel free to subscribe, share the channel as well. But beyond that, though, I might have a video for you guys in the morning. We'll see how things go with that. But this has been Tyler Metalhead Weatherman. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good night.